study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
The best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Where is Daredevil?
I'm right here. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
Sid and Friends in the morning. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Folks, we're talking today about a bunch of things. We can't forget, Dominic and John, we got to talk about this Jaxson Dart situation. Jaxson Dart, the star quarterback for the New York Giants, emerging last year as a rookie, looking very promising in his career. And it's just amazing what he was able to do. And, you know, we've got Governor David Paterson on the line right now, our favorite common sense Democrat. And Governor Paterson, first of all, great to talk to you on a day other than Saturday, although I really enjoy our conversations on the left versus the right every week. But Congressman Paterson, you get a guy who all he did, Jaxson Dart, all he did was introduce the president. He didn't say this is the greatest president. He didn't say I voted for him. He did say he was very honored. But then one of his teammates tries to call him out and basically say this S word I thought was not real. This is Abdul Carter, his teammate. Apparently they've made up. I don't know what's going on here. But Congressman Paterson, where are we in America when you can't even introduce the president of the United States without being called horrible names?
Well, I couldn't get introduced without being demoted. I was Governor Paterson.
Oh, yeah, I made you a congressman. You know what? I just talking about. So you were Governor Paterson, and I know that very well. Sorry about that.
But really, the situation is we've gotten to a point in our society where everything is politicized. If there's supposed to be a speaker, the speaker doesn't show up and they get someone else. The person who introduces him is either thought to be a political ally or a foe. And I think it's gotten so bad that you've got this type of, situation where Jaxson Dart just did what anyone else would have done. And then a teammate looking for publicity and, attention to himself makes this kind of a situation a feud. And the whole thing never should have happened in the first place.
Governor, it's Dominic. Good morning on this Memorial Day, Dominic Carter. And what I'm curious about, I saw your name. You made big headlines yesterday with Mr. Catsimatidis. I'll let him discuss that with you. But I mean, Governor, you're a straight shooter. You've always been a straight shooter. So anybody that identifies with Trump at all, you're telling me the left says is bad, awful, disgusting. All this quarterback said, well, he spoke for maybe, Jake, how long? Less than a minute?
Well, most of it was a Giants chant. That's what he did most of the time. Go Big Blue.
Right.
And then for like 15 seconds.
That didn't go over well either.
No, that didn't. Well, you got some Patriots fans up there.
Right. Well, it's right up the block from where I live.
Yeah.
And so, but Governor, what time is it that these things are? So you're telling me that to the left, everything with Trump is bad. This Trump derangement syndrome.
What I'm saying is that I wouldn't have any problem with what happened. But what I'm saying is there are too many people who would, only because of the political relationship that they determined. They don't know who Jaxson Dart voted for, and it was unnecessary. And I myself have run into the former president on a few occasions. And there were occasions when he was introduced and I was standing near him. There was one occasion where I was introduced and he patted me on the back. Now, what was I supposed to do? Turn around and punch him because I didn't vote for him? And that's what my point is, that we've allowed the situation as a society. A number of individuals who have allowed this to get to a point where we can't even work together anymore.
It's horrible. It can't even work together anymore. I mean, I go back to the days where Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan used to, work things out for what's best for America. And Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton worked things out, what's best for America. Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich took the deficit from $5.5 trillion down to $5 trillion. And now it's at $38 trillion.
Yeah, that's a problem. I had the fortune when I was governor to work with the majority leader who lived outside of Albany, Joe Bruno. And he and I, the budget would come down to the two of us trying to negotiate it. And there were times when we got on each other's nerves because we didn't agree, just like any couple that's trying to work something out. But each time that we did, we were very proud of the fact not only that we could pass the budget close to on time in those days. Now the budget just is barely passing now here almost toward the end of May. And we prided ourselves on the fact that we could do that. And I think that our colleagues who worked for us got along a lot better because you always watch to see what the leaders are doing. And we were working. We were not talking to the media, yelling about who introduced who at what dinner and that kind of thing. This has really gotten out of hand, John.
Definitely gotten out of hand. And Dominic, you see it. Jake, you see it. I mean, it's just, the Democratic Party should, the people that have courage in the Democratic Party we have two choices. And David Paterson, you've spoken about it. Doug Schoen has spoken about it. You have two choices: either have the courage to take back the Democratic Party because the Socialist Party is going to try to take you out if you're an elected Democrat, or they lose 49 states like they did in 1984.
John, this is very serious. I was with former Governor Andrew Cuomo within the last week, and he's concerned about it. Like you said, Doug Schoen, the political strategist, is. I think that the people who have worked for the party for years, who are not recognizing that we're being, in a sense, pushed out by a new up-and-coming group of people who have no morals, none. They don't respect anything except their desire to have power. And for some reason, they think that socialism is the answer. And every time socialism has superseded an existing government, they wound up with tyranny. So I think some of these people who are getting caught up in it need to go back and read history. And some of these people who are organizing it, frankly, need to be put out themselves.
Governor Paterson, you made news yesterday on the Cats Roundtable talking about how it just astounds you that our current governor, Kathy Hochul, would be pushing these policies where she's going to do the same thing that Mikey Sherrill and some other governors have done, advising the law enforcement institutions in the state not to cooperate with federal agents who, again, as you and I have pointed out on our own program many times, have clearly made the priority of going after violent illegal immigrants. They've made that clearly who they've gone after in just about every single case. They're going after violent criminals. Why would a governor not want their state cleared out of those people on the federal dime, nonetheless? And yet she's going to push back on this, and you pushed back on it yesterday.
Well, I haven't spoken to Governor Hochul, so I don't know if this was her preferred position or if she got boxed into this situation. All I was doing was letting people know what the result of it is going to be. And the result of it is going to be that a lawsuit, because the federal government is constitutionally a level up from the state government. You have to abide by the rules. And the federal government, in this particular case, wants to do this. I'm not saying that the people who are unhappy about it have to like it. They don't have to like it. But that is something that is right now. We have to govern ourselves by the rules that were set up going back to the beginning of our government and through all the different trials and tribulations. That's why this Memorial Day should be a day that we're all sullen about those who fought and died, or those who fought and seriously injured to defend this country. And so for whoever it was that drafted this legislation, they are way off, and they're going to lose in court. And when they lose in court, it's going to open the door for a whole lot of things that they're not going to like.
Well, that's a good segue, because, Governor, as you know, the last time we had this kind of an issue with the Supremacy Clause, where we had individual states deciding to buck what the federal government wanted, we had something called the Civil War. And when you and I were in school, they used to tell us that 500,000 people died in the Civil War. Do you know, by the way, that the new accounting based on new evidence is that 700,000 Americans died in the Civil War? Can we please avoid armed conflict again? I mean, this feels like, I just feel like we're in 1848 now, bleeding Kansas. There's no reason for us to be fighting over this. At least slavery, there was some common sense there and decency. We wanted to end slavery. Are we literally going to have people killing other people because they want to protect violent illegal immigrants?
Remember, history repeats itself.
Yeah, in a bad way.
And I think John will remember this, and I'm not going to call the person out, but we were doing the show, the 5 o'clock show, Jake. This was about a year and a half ago. And when I left the studio, I hailed a taxi, and I'm coming back home. The phone rings, and a well-known leader from around the state says to me, "When are you changing your resignation? When are you changing your voter registration card to Republican?" And I addressed the person by their name and said to them that I had been trying to talk to them for 2 months, and they hadn't returned my calls. And if that's what it took, I'll do it tomorrow.
And I remember, I'm not going to mention any names because I know who it is, but he's a Star Trek fan, and I like the guy as a person, but his politics in Albany,
person.
Yeah, you know, his politics in Albany is hurting our city and our state.
It unfortunately it is, and excuse me, I just look back to the time period that I was there. At times when I thought that the place was just a wreck, like it could never be fixed. And yet, from the leadership that took over, after Sheldon Silver and Bruno and others had been there, really started to work things out. And I think it's actually the issues that are going on in the federal government that are causing the people who are operating the state budget and operating the state services to allow themselves to be politicized. You just can't do it. We're going to open the door for somebody to come in, and when they start running the country, none of us are going to like it because it won't be fair.
Well, former Governor David Paterson, sorry for that emotion. I'll have you down to mayor by the time I speak to you next time. Got you, former Governor David Paterson.
The big mistake, I got to say this, we got a minute to the next break. The big mistake that Governor Paterson made, and we're friends for a long time, is when it came time for him to, when Hillary Clinton became Secretary of State, and it came time for him to appoint a new U.S. Senator, he should have appointed himself. They would have called him a killjoy for about 3 days.
I have no comment, Governor. No, Dominic has no comment on this topic.
And he would have been still the U.S. Senator for New York State. And, Governor, you screwed up. You should have named yourself. And, God bless New York.
Well, I'll work on the current majority leader of the Senate to try to fix that mistake that I made.
Read a little more Machiavelli, and maybe you'll make the right decision next time.
It's kind of an inside joke what I'm saying to the governor, because at one time we didn't see eye to eye, but he's a great man. I wish he would have appointed himself to the Senate. I remember going on Face the Nation, and they wanted to know what was Paterson going to do, and I was hoping and praying that he would appoint himself. And I agree, he would still be the senator.
And they would have called him a killjoy for about 3 days.
Right, and that would have been
he would have been the U.S. Senator.
Right, yeah. right. So I made no comment, Governor. No comment from Dominic.
All right, we're going to take a break. It's John Catsimatidis, Jake Novak, and Dominic Carter. The Cats are playing while Sid and friends are away. We'll be right back. A lot of great guests, including Fernando Mateo, in the next hour.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?